Today I'm going to show you how to mix the color maroon from a variety of different colors. I'm using cadmium red medium, but you can use any primary red, such as cadmium red light or quinacridone magenta. Any kind of primary red will work. First I'm going to paint the red, and that will give us a baseline and a comparison point. Now we're going to use red and black to make maroon. Notice how little black I'm going to start with to mix into the red. Always use a very small amount because dark colors will make a big change to lighter colors. And if you have the more expensive paints, such as Golden or Liquitex Professional, you'll need even less of the darker color because they have a much higher concentration of pigments. So you want to keep adding black in small amounts until you get to the color you desire. Keep in mind if you're using acrylic that acrylic does dry a bit darker than what you see when it's wet. So always mix a little bit lighter than what color or what darkness you want. When I painted this on, I realized that the color was a little bit lighter than I wanted, so I'm adding a little bit more black just with my brush here, mixing it in, and just with that little addition with black, this is definitely more of a maroon. The next way I'm going to show you to make maroon is with red, green, and blue. First, I'm going to start with red and green to neutralize the red, and then I will add in the blue to make the color a little bit more cool. So once again, notice that I had a very small amount of green, and it makes a really big change of that color. Look at how different it is than the original red that I put on the paper. So now that I got a nice neutralized red, I'm adding a little bit of blue to make this color a little bit more cool. And I'm just using phthalo blue here. So I can see this color got a little bit too brown, so I need to brighten it back up again. And I'm doing that by adding some more red back in. When you're mixing colors like this, it's pretty normal to not get it right the first time. You have to correct sometimes by going back to the original color. And so adding just a bit of red is helping me to achieve the color I'm going for. Now, if you would like to know which colors to use for color mixing, be sure to check out my free PDF guide, 8 Paint Colors Every Artist Should Have. You'll see the link to this guide in the description below. And so I'm adding a little bit more blue also because I'm finding that the color's a little bit too warm and it's still a little bit too dark. But remember that blue is darker than red. So the blue is really darkening my color here. And so it's pretty much gotten too dark at this point. So here I am adding a bit more red. And I like to show all these, sort of what seems like mistakes because this will happen to you. When you are color mixing, this will happen to you. You will not get it quite right and have to keep correcting. And it takes time, but it's worth the time and it's worth it to really know and understand like what direction you want to push your colors in. So I paint this color on and I realize later that it comes out too brown. So make sure to watch the end of the video. I'm going to actually fix this color and make it more maroon because it actually is too brown here. And so now we're going to try red, orange, and purple. This is dioxazine purple and cadmium orange. And so this idea here is that the purple makes the color a bit more cool and also neutralizes it a bit. And the orange kind of brings it back to the warm and bright side. Notice how much I'm mixing my colors. I really mix them well because you really want to have those colors integrate with each other well. And now we have this beautiful maroonish color. And I think this one is actually my favorite, even though it's not like a perfect maroon, but I just think it's such a gorgeous color. So now I'm going to go back and fix it. So again, when it dried, it really went brown. So you'd notice that I had some of that color left over up at the top of my palette. So I'm just adding some more red to this to make the color more of a red brown as opposed to a true brown. So I'm finding this color to be maybe a little bit too warm. So just a touch of the blue here will just kind of make it a little bit more cool. And you see I'm hovering my palette knife over the color because I want to see that it's substantially different. Even though I know it's going to dry darker, I definitely don't want to make a brown here because maroon really is more of a red brown. So the palette knife hovering over the color helps me to see what I need to do to make it more of the color I'm shooting for. And so I finally have it here, and because that paint is dry, I can just go right over it. I'm going to actually cover it really well, and I'm definitely much happier with this maroon now. Now, the other obvious way to make maroon is to use red and brown, and I chose not to demonstrate that because I wanted you to see that you could use other colors besides brown, and red and black would be kind of your most standard color that people would use. So I wanted to show you that you can actually make maroon by using other primary and secondary colors, and you don't have to just use black or brown. You can actually really dial in how cool or warm your maroon is by using primary and secondary colors. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe and share it with a friend who might also enjoy or need to learn more about color mixing. Take care.